let's just get into it. So, when they get into the tuning exams place, Rock Lee would challenge both Sasuke and Kirsten, since they're both probably the strongest of the Gen 8 and 9. Except Naruto was actually stronger, because if you realize, I just watched this TikTok, Naruto hasn't been trying to kill Sasuke all this time, so that means Naruto is stronger, because every time they fought, they've either been on equal terms, or Naruto has been outpacing Sasuke. So, there's your facts. Naruto is stronger, so he'd say the two Uzumakis that look like the fourth Hokage. Naruto would go first, and Naruto would do pretty good against Rock Lee. So when it starts off, Rock Lee and Naruto would both, well actually Naruto would rush, but when Rock Lee goes to stop his fist, Naruto would roll over, and when he rolls, and he pushes forward with his hand and kicks Rock Lee in the stomach. Rock Lee goes flying back into the wall. He goes, Christian says, "Nice, Naruto!" Then Naruto would say, then stick a pole in the ground. Then Rock Lee would go for a kick on him. Naruto would duck and swing around on the pole and kick him in the face. Christian goes, "Naruto's insane with these strategies." Naruto and Naruto are like, "Whoa!" Then, when he flips up in the air, he actually lands on the roof and jets himself down, going, "Ah!" Boom! One punch sends him flying down. Rock Lee goes, "Yeah!" Then Naruto would activate some of the Nine-Tails chakra and then blitz Rock Lee with a kick to the face. Rock Lee would go, "Ah, dang it, how are you this strong?" Rock Lee would start to release some of his bandages, and then he'd be a little bit faster and pick up the pace on Naruto, going, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And Naruto wouldn't really stand a chance against this kind of Rock Lee. Until Naruto would crank it up a little bit, Naruto lent a quick, fiery chakra punch into a wall. Rock Lee would then still be ready to battle and release his weight, disappearing in one shot, kicking Naruto. Naruto would instantly fall to the ground. He says, "This guy's strong." Christian says, "My turn." Oh yeah, Sasuke's there too, he's just watching. Because he says, he's like, "That loser can't do that." He says, "Well, let's see what the other one can do." Christian says, "Here we go, here goes nothing." Christian would throw 20 flying Raijin kunais. He says, "What the? He's using that?" He'd throw all kinds of them around the arena. Rock Lee goes for a punch on him. Christian teleports out of the way. Rock Lee's foot would be stuck in the wall. Christian goes, dun 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 dun. And then with a dark Rasengan, Sasuke goes, "What is that thing?" And then Christian goes, "Rasengan!" and rams it into Rock Lee's back. He goes, "Gah!" almost crushing through the wall. Then Christian would throw Rock Lee into the other wall, then appear right behind him with the flying Raijin and knock him out with one shot. He goes, "So Sasuke, you wanna go?" He goes, "Sure, I'll destroy you." Sakura goes, "Go Sasuke!" Naruto, not wanting to lose to Sakura, says, "Go Christian!" And Naruto is kind of next to Sakura, because she's right next to them. And Naruto says, "Go Christian!" And Sakura says, "Shut up, Naruto!" And out of nowhere, Naruto catches the fist with her hair up in the air. She goes, "You touch him, and I'm gonna destroy you." Christian and Sasuke stop fighting, and they look. They go, "Tch!" And they see that the ground below them is crushing. Then she lifts Sakura up in the air, then slams her on the ground, and goes until Sakura starts to bleed. Christian rushes over and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, Naruto, chill! You're gonna absolutely murder her." She goes, "I don't care. She's trying to punch Naruto." He says, "What? Stop, 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 stop." Then when she goes for one final strike on Sakura to punch her in the face, Christian says, "Stop! I said this already, stop!" Then he gets punched in the face. He into a wall, which he lands. He goes, "Ah, God, Mom said not to use it like that. Not to go crazy on people. Just use it to protect people." She says, "I was protecting Naruto from that useless billboard forehead." Christian says, "Well, Naruto, Taruto, Sasuke, we're leaving." He goes, "I don't care if you're not part of our team, Sasuke. We're going. This is about to get deadly." He goes, Sakura with their no pupil form, and Naruto with their like angry Kushina form thingy, and they start to battle. Christian says, "Yep." He grabs Sasuke's arm and says, "Yeah, we better go. This is gonna get bad." He says he asked one of the proctors to please help. He says, "Why? What's wrong?" Christian says, "Code RS. Code RT and B and BB. RT and BB." Genma goes, Kotetsu goes, "Oh no, not code BB and code RT." Sasuke says, "What's code BB and RT?" Naruto, Taruto, and Christian give Sasuke death stare, saying, "That's red tomato and billboard brow." He says, "What the?" He says, "Yeah, that's when the two of them go and almost kill each other, so we're gonna have to stop this." Christian says, "Sasuke, you try and get hold of..." He says, "Do not touch Sakura, she's gonna go all simp mode. So don't touch her, because I have a feeling she's gonna go weird mode, so don't touch her. I think the proctors can handle her." Christian rushes over and grabs Naruto's arm, saying, "Stop punching! Stop!" And Sasuke has to hold back Sakura, even because the proctors get beaten up by Sakura, because they don't really want to hurt her. Sasuke holds her back. I know where they both start to get vicious, angrier. And Christian and Sasuke are getting flailed around. They're going until finally they let go of their grip and fall to the ground. Sasuke is basically the Naruto of Team 9, because they're Team 9. He's basically the I don't know where 3 ink lions come, Christian says, and they're about to hit Naruto and not Sakura. Christian jumps in front and slices them all in half and says, "Who was that?" and puts his sword back in. Out of nowhere, he sees a boy with flat hair and pure vampire white skin. He goes, "Who are you?" Sasuke says, "That's our other teammate, Sai. He just transferred to us because we didn't have enough members." He goes, "Oh." He says, "I'm sorry, but they must be subdued. I'll have to kill her." Christian says, "You touch her and I'll make sure my blade goes through you and I cut you like a steak. And then I will feed your body parts to stray dogs." Got it, punk? Sai isn't even frightened at all. He says, Sai rushes at Naruto with the sword. Christian says, "That's it." Immediately one punches Sai so hard that Sai spits out tons of blood. And then he gets sent to a wall. He says, "Never threaten my sister or else." And charges up a Dark Rasengan. And says, "Alright, I'm done with this. Dark Rasengan!" And rams it into the ground. Both Naruto and Sakura both hit the ground and being knocked out. He says, "Oh God!" Christian grabs Naruto's form and puts it in her hands. Then Naruto, and Christian have to carry her to the place, while Sasuke has to too. Has to carry Sai and Sakura, and ask for a little bit of help from Genma, because that's their sensei. When Naruto wakes up, she's in the exam room. He says, "Naruto, get to working. We're gonna be stuck or else we can't do it." Naruto, with little difficulty, just goes and just gets all the answers right instantly. When Christian sees this, he goes, damn, strong and smart. Christian just starts to do this, trying to guess it, but then going into his psyche to see if the Kurama will help him. He says, hey, Nine-Tailed Fox, do you have a name? He says, can I call you like Nine or Tails or Fox? He says, just call me Fox, I don't trust you enough to tell you my name. Christian says, alright, Fox, can I ask you a quick question? Do you know any of these answers? He says, yes, I've been around since the Sage's Six Paths era. He goes, damn, you're old. He goes, shut up. So he gives him all the answers, and Christian knows it. He goes, easy, boy. This is easy AF. And Naruto would struggle until he gets the answers from Hinata. And Taruto wants to kill Naruto right now for what happened. He's like, I'm going to kill him. He just stole my girl Hinata, so now I must kill him. 'Cause no one touches Princess Hinata. Sadly, just sadly. And Taruto would not struggle at all. And all of Team 7 would all get it right until they're done. There we go. Christian decides that he wants to ask Sasuke if he wants a truce to help each other in the exams. Sasuke would agree, but he doesn't think Sakura or Sai will. He says, so what? You're basically the strongest on the team. He says, no, Sai is close comparison. Christian says, who cares? Sai doesn't really benefit to the team, just like Sakura doesn't. He goes, no, he benefits a lot more than Sakura does. A lot more. He goes, oh, well, you want to call a truce? He says, sure. I'll keep the truce distant to pretend like me and you were fighting. He says, right. So, when they go off, and they get into the second exam, Christian decides to wear something else. Actually, he wears the same Minato outfit. And then, when they start, Christian tells the plan to his team, and they know. But Sakura would instantly go to punch Naruto in the face when they start. Christian says, eat up, eat my fist! And punches Sakura in the face, saying, Sasuke, can you just carry... He says, hey, you, useless boy Sai, carry her. We're in a truce right now, and she's a bot. She's a billboard brow, and we don't need that in our way. He says, no, I think we can... He says, Sasuke, this is obviously not going to work, let's just not do this. He goes, okay. Christian says, let's just promise each other that we won't attack each other. He goes, yeah, I can promise that. So basically, they go off on their own. Out of nowhere, Team 7 gets hit by a giant wind blast. Christian goes, God damn it! And then uses his own chakra pressure to cut it in half. He goes, when he sees this, then a figure would come out. It's Orochimaru, but they don't know it is. Christian says, dang it, an enemy. He says, alright, here it goes nothing. Uzumaki T! He goes, for a Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki. This'll be fun. Orochimaru would rush at him, going, yeah! Trying to strike them. The 4 Uzumakis would dodge out of the way. Naruto would go for a liquid bullet. One hits Orochimaru in the gut, cutting off some of his skin. Naruto would come from behind with a Shadow Clone Barrage, hitting one of his hits to the face. Then, Taruto would jump up with a sword strike, cutting off Orochimaru's arm, going, ah! Out of nowhere, Christian comes and says, Dark Rasengan! about to hit Orochimaru, but then Orochimaru spins with more of his power and slams down Christian. He hits the floor, then Naruto would appear right next to him, but he gets sent flying back too. Then Naruto would come in with another sword strike, cutting Orochimaru a little bit, but then getting kicked back, and then landing on a tree. Naruto would use water clones, then liquid bullet, so then all of them are using it. And yeah, it hits Orochimaru, but with not enough force. Out of nowhere, Christian gets back up and grabs all of his flying Raijin kunais and scatters them all around. And says, now the real battle starts. It says, now the real battle. They all know how to use the flying Raijin, just not as good as Christian can. Naruto can use it pretty good, but he doesn't really like to use it. Naruto likes to use it. Out of nowhere, yellow light just appears all around the battlefield. They just go while Christian and Naruto are teleporting around for extra measures. She would be shooting water bullets all around them, so it's like, so then if Orochimaru tries to attack one of them, he's hit with a water bullet. He goes, but Christian has to pick up 6 kunai to do his attack. He picks up 3, then grabs 2 more. Then he's about to grab the last one, but he's kicked in the face. He teleports back to that kunai and picks it up, saying, he puts the kunais in his pocket and says, Shadow Clone Jutsu! Creating one Shadow Clone. He says, now here it comes. They both create dark Rasengans. Christian says, then Christian pulls out both the kunai and throws them forward, saying, Rasen Flash Super Circle Dance House Stage 3! Disappearing and appearing with the Rasengan. He hits Orochimaru with his clone hitting it too. He goes, out of nowhere a fireball would come and hit Orochimaru in the back. Christian says, I know only one person who can use a fireball. Christian says, Sasuke! Sasuke says, we're coming in to help. Sai would say, Super Beast Scroll! Hitting Orochimaru with force that blows up his eyes. Well, his eyes, Sakura would come from above. Cause Sakura knows a little bit of medical ninjutsu, I'm gonna say. And Tsunade's still in the village. Tsunade would heal him up. She would heal all of them up. He says, finally, Sakura, you're doing something good. You're progressing as a ninja. He goes, thanks. He says, let's go. They all rush in. Naruto asking Sakura if she can learn a tiny bit of medical ninjutsu to heal a little. Sakura, being the nice person she is in this canon timeline, says yes. She teaches her a tiny bit of medical ninjutsu so she can heal her own teammates. And they do this while the 5 of them are fighting. While Christian, Naruto, well actually the 4 of them, Christian, Naruto, Naruto, and Sasuke are fighting him off. With Sai as well, so it's 5. They go, dun, dun. These 3 are literally flying through, going, Sasuke activates his Sharingan. Christian says, alright, I've been waiting to show you guys this. He goes, going into his cubey-eyed form. And it's in full control. He goes, with one swift punch sends Orochimaru flying. Sasuke would go for a backflip kick, slamming him down to the ground. With Naruto with the sword stabs Orochimaru through, and then Naruto with the shadow clones, using wind style great boots to cut through them. He goes, he says, nice! Naruto would say, I also learned that too, Christian. He goes, and then rushes towards him, and they all start to Shadow Clone Barrage, and Naruto says, me too! And the 5 of them just start rushing him, going, Sakura decides to be useful, and says, Naruto, go fight with them, I have a plan! She tells Naruto her plan, and then Naruto rushes. But then Sakura places something on Naruto's shoulder and gives her 2 more of them. Naruto jumps over, slapping them on Naruto and Naruto in Christian's face. On their shoulders, actually, and she says, oh yeah! Then Sakura would slip in and slap it on Sasuke's arm, and he says, Sasuke, keep that on you, it'll help! Sakura would just throw tons of shuriken and kunai just to barrage him, just to keep him out on bay. Well, the 6 of them go and box him up, destroying Orochimaru with their full forces. Christian says, "Alright, I have a plan. You guys hold him off, I'll be right back." He asks Sasuke what scroll his team has. He says they have Earth Scroll. Christian says, "We have Earth Scroll too," and throws the kunai way far in the forest. Teleports and says, "Dark Rasengan!" ramming into a team with his Dark Rasengan, stealing their Heaven Scroll. Then throwing the kunai again, and grabbing it back. Grabbing another Heaven Scroll, then disappearing and dropping into Sasuke's bag thingy and dropping it into his. He rushes towards Orochimaru with full force, going, "Ah!" He says, "Guys, get back. I think it's time I show you my full power." They go, "Finally, he's gonna use his full power to help." Christian puts on his fox mask and goes, "Ah!" with full Nine-Tails chakra. He's in his full power in his one-eyed, in his cubey-eyed form. He rushes going, with his sword out, cutting Orochimaru, going, Then he pulls out his flying rising kunai and starts to battle with them, going, Then he flips his kunai around so he's holding it like a blade, starts clashing with Orochimaru's Kusanagi sword. Orochimaru is very worn out. Sakura with chakra in her fist comes and punches Thing right in the face, Orochimaru in the face. Christian says, "Water style, syrup jutsu! Syrup trap!" Putting a syrup trap, sticking Orochimaru, then stomping on him so that he lands on the ground. He's stuck there. Christian says, Now, Naruto!" Naruto says, "A royal beatdown!" grabbing Orochimaru's shirt and then start beating him up. Christian says, "I'm still afraid to see that." Naruto and Taruto agree. And then with one final strike, sends Orochimaru through both the trees. Christian says, "Now!" Rah! He says, now you 3 propel me!" He goes, "Ah!" They charge up their wind gale palms. Christian charges up a Rasengan. He goes, "Ah!" Sasuke says, "I'm joining in." Sasuke would charge up a fireball going. Well, actually, Sasuke would develop a purple lightning. Sasuke would have developed purple lightning sooner or later, because it's much easier. He goes, "Purple lightning!" jumping in with Christian. Sai coming in to use his Super B scroll, and Sakura asks Naruto for the simple hand signs for the wind gale palm. Sakura gets the wind gale palm hand signs and uses it. And they all launch the 2 of them forward, with Sai with the Super Beast scroll. Christian and Sasuke fuse their attacks into purple Dark Rasengan. They go, obliterating Orochimaru, so then he won't come back to them. Christian says, "For your guys' efforts," he pulls out a flying Raijin kunai and throws it to the exit. And he says, you still have your scroll, right?" Sasuke says, "Yup." And they disappear, and Sasuke goes to his entrance, while Team 7 goes to theirs. Naruto and Sai would have a better rivalry than Naruto and Sasuke would. It's Christian and Sasuke's rivalry. It's a battle of prodigies. Orochimaru has a plan, though. Still, when Orochimaru gets back up, 30 hours later, but we're not going to talk about that, we're going to go through the matches. Well, actually, the match was pretty early, because that was only one day that they fought Orochimaru. 30 hours later, Orochimaru would wake up and go to his base, devising a plan to steal the weakest Uzumaki, and that one is Naruto. And wants the Nine-Tails, so he's going to kidnap her soon. Now, y'all know where this is going. So, moving on to the exams, the final rounds of the exams. The first match, Christian versus Rock Lee. I'm kidding. It's Christian versus Neji Hyuga. Christian says, "Oh hell yeah!" When they start, they both rush and clash each other. Neji trying to go for a palm strike, Christian would dodge the other way and kick him in the stomach. While Naruto would report to their father, who's actually there, telling Minato that they encountered Orochimaru. He goes, "Orochimaru, that rogue ninja?" Tsunade overhears and starts to talk to them about it. And Jiraiya's still there, remember? And they start to talk about a plan. And yeah, during the match, Christian has the edge the entire fight. Then, out of nowhere, Jiraiya sees Christian charging up a Rasengan. He says, "Lord Fourth, where did Christian learn that jutsu?" Minato says, he created that jutsu. He calls it the Dark Rasengan. It's built with malevolent chakra. He charges up going, and then rushes towards Neji. Neji would go for a rotation while Christian is using, in his QBI'd form, with the Rasengan. He goes, the clash is big enough to send the shockwave sends some people back. But then, they're like in a holy void. Christian says, with his right arm goes, Rasengan! Ramming it into Neji, knocking Neji out. And all the other matches go pretty normal, except for, I'm going to go over Naruto's, and Naruto's. Naruto's match would be with, Ninetales. I mean, not Ninetales. Sakura fought Ninetales. She'd be dead. It's Naruto versus Ino. Now, Sakura all the way would be rooting for Naruto because of how good friends they were in the Forest of Death. And she's decided to be more friendly to Naruto because she realized that Naruto isn't that much interested in Sasuke anymore, so she's not going to really be mad. So she's rooting on for Naruto. This match would be a one-shot battle. Out of nowhere, she'd shoot. When Ino goes for a mind transfer, that's just dumb. Naruto is fully allowing herself to do it. Sakura says, "What are you doing, Naruto? Don't let her." Christian appears behind Sakura. It walks over to Sakura and says, "Don't worry. Ino's in for a surprise." When Ino gets into her mind, she sees the nine-tailed fox going. And Ino is scared to death and gets knocked and passes out. Sakura says, "What happened to Ino?" Christian says, "She just met the nine-tailed fox." She goes, "What do you mean?" Christian says, "Naruto, me, Taruto, and Naruto all had the nine tails. We all have a quarter of it. And if you go into the nine tails is in our psyche. So if Ino goes there, then she's gonna meet the nine tails." That would happen with any of us, except for mine and Naruto's would have scared her much more because of how much angrier they are. Because Naruto and Taruto have much calmer nine tails. We have the angry half. He goes, "Oh." And then Taruto, it's Taruto versus Gaara. This is a pretty good one. Taruto would probably win though. His strength and speed plus the QBI'd form, he's pretty much way stronger. And that's basically all I wanted to go over. Now, the tuning exams would be delayed a little bit. Well, actually, no, going for the 1 month training, Chris would ask Minato if he could train with him. Minato agrees, and he wants to help his son reach the next level of the Flying Raijin. He said, after a while of training for the month, Christian develops a sort of new version of the Dark Rasengan. It's not really new. Well, I mean, he's trying to control it, but he can barely ever pull it off. He calls it the Rasen Ring. Oh yeah, Boruto does Rasen Ring. By the way, no one's gonna question that Boruto did Rasen Ring. Yet he called it Wind Style Rasengan. Yet Naruto already developed Wind Style Rasengan. Boruto, man, you stupid. I kind of wish Boruto developed his own jutsu. I kind of wish Boruto developed Shidan. I can see why Boruto's kind of like Kakashi, though. Because Boruto took the jutsu of his father, the Rasen Shuriken, and made it even better. Well, no, actually, Naruto's Rasen Shuriken is much more destructive than the weak wind-style Rasengan, which only blew up a part of a rock. Naruto's Rasengan could destroy the planet. Naruto's Rasengan can be bigger than Frieza's supernova. Literally. Oh god. Naruto Uzumaki. Krishna has mastered the flying Raijin, actually. Naruto's been training with Jiraiya, much more. Jiraiya would teach him the steps of the Rasengan, and Naruto would learn the Rasengan. That's it for now. I'm kidding. But a final week after thing, Naruto is at home. Naruto is at home. No, Naruto is out training with Jiraiya. Kushina's out in the store. Minato is training with Christian. Taruto is training with Taruto actually wants to train with Kakashi. So Taruto does. But something happens. Someone breaks into the Namikaze house. Knocks out 4 people knock out thing. What's their name? Knocks out Karuto. No, not Karuto. Naruto. Knock out Naruto. And if you want to know who this is the Sound 4. Remember Orochimaru said that he was going to steal her? He actually meant it. He stole her on the last week before the Chunin exams. When Kushina arrives, she instantly calls Minato, Christian, Naruto, and Taruto home. When they come home, they say, "What's wrong?" Kushina, with tears in her eyes, say that Naruto was kidnapped. Christian says, "I don't know, a dark, malevolent aura comes out of Christian." He goes and cracks his knuckles so hard, saying, "Whoever did that will suffer 10,000 years of death. More like 100,000 years of death." He goes, Minato says, whoa, calm down, champ. You ain't gonna do that. Christian says, "I'm gonna do it." He goes, "Alright." He says, "This doesn't have to be alerted by the village. We will do it." But then Christian says that they have no trails of her. He says that we'll discover something. We'll find it out. During the night, while they're walking to Orochimaru's base, the Sound Force taking her, Christian is not happy that they have to wait a day to get his sister that's been kidnapped. Christian opens his window, leaves a note, and jumps out his window. And puts on his fox mask and his cloak, and says, I'm coming for you, Naruto. And then dips out the village, knocking out Kotetsu and Izumo, and rushing out. A day later, they realize that Christian isn't there. They wonder where he is. They ask Kakashi if he came to him, and Kakashi said that he didn't. Out of nowhere, Izumo and Kotetsu comes to the Hokage office and tell him that Christian left the village. He asked them why didn't he stop them, why didn't they stop him, and they said that he'd appeared behind them and knocked them out. He goes, "Okay, not mad at all." He says, "We just have to go find him." He says, "We don't have a lot to worry about, though. He's going out." He says, "Lord Hokage, what is he going to do when he leaves? Why would he leave the village in the first place?" He says, Minato says, "My daughter was kidnapped, and he's going to go get her back. He wants to go get her back after the countless warnings of us telling him not to." He goes, "We have to send out and no one knows any traces of Naruto." Christian, chasing around, sees strands of hair. He goes, "This is Naruto's. It's part yellow and part red." He goes and follows the trail of hair. at full speed, so he catches up to them much faster. He sees them and says, "This is what you deserve." It says, and out of nowhere they hear Rasengan, and it slams against the ground. Naruto is quiet and is like super duper tired. Christian appears right in front of one of them, taking off his garb and then disappearing and kicking Jirobo in the face, knocking him straight out. Then Grep pick him up high in the air, saying Rasengan, blasting him, killing him, disappearing and crushing Kidomaru's head, going then appearing, breaking Tayuya's flute, then slamming her head in the ground, then grabs a stone and says 6 feet under, and slams Tayuya into there. Then he disappears and says to Sakon Nukon, "Go to hell." Then throws a Raijin kunai down below him. He goes, when he looks down, he sees Christian right below him saying, Rasengan! Knocking him, killing Kidomaru. Out of nowhere, he sees Naruto on the floor, knocked out. Well, on the ground, knocked out. Naruto suddenly awakes a little bit and tries to get up, but then when she falls, Christian does a signature Minato move and picks up Naruto and takes her back. About 1 day later, they have to eat outside food. They eat fish. A day later, Naruto still can't walk because, well, when they attacked her, they broke her leg almost. They almost crushed her leg. Christian says, "Fine, I'll carry you, let's go." And he jumps on the tree, jumping out. He goes, jumping in, and when it's nighttime, he does the iconic Minato scene where he jumps to the sky. He says, and a couple hours later, he makes it to the village with Minato and Kushina and Naruto and Taruto waiting. When he arrives, he's greeted by his entire family. He goes, "Hey, I'm sorry for not listening, but sorry, I ain't waiting." And when she sees Naruto can talk and all that crap. She's not really tired, just that Christian says that he needs Lady Tsunade because Naruto's leg was crushed by one of their attacks. The first thing that happens when Christian lets down Naruto is Kushina running up to Naruto, picking her up, saying, "My baby girl is finally back home." Naruto says, "I'm not a baby." Christian says, "Well, you were the last one born." She goes, "If my leg wasn't broken right now." Christian says, "You said it was crushed." He says, "Yeah." Christian feels her leg and says, "What the? I can literally feel dust." He goes, "Wow, they really did crush it." So he takes them to Lady Tsunade, and Lady Tsunade heals her leg. 5 days later, she's healed up. Well, she has to stay in the hospital for like 3 days. Naruto, Taruto, and Christian, and Minato and Kushina, Sakura, Sasuke, and Sai sometimes visit. When Naruto's back into fighting shape, and she's ready for her match. And that's it for this.